Hello, nerds. We have a really quick episode. Like I said quickie last week, and I meant it in a little less of a direct meaning because I didn't have the time to do the proper edit, so I just got the raw video up. This time, I should have the time to do the proper edit, but there's less to talk about, so it's a even quicker video. So, that being said, we actually, probably the largest section is music. We have a little bit of everything, though. The Oscars happened, Locke and Key has launched, Birds of Prey is still in the news because reasons, and this is an intro. Real quick, housekeeping for the channel. It is officially not going to be a thing. I'm not going to Starfest this year, Denver Starfest. This will be the first year in like 5 years that I haven't gone and done coverage for it. I will be out of town. It's unfortunate, but it is the way it is. It's not all that unfortunate. I'm gonna have a blast while I'm out of town, and actually very potentially make some content for the channel, again, while I'm out of town. So, Starfest is not happening, though Denver Comic-Con is almost guaranteed, and as well, Salt Lake Comic-Con is almost guaranteed. So we will still have the two big ones. Just don't have, I have a personal life too, guys. Jeez. But that's what we've got there. Big show entertainment stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on over there that is kinda sort of in the works and is going to be playing around with my schedule, so these videos I might have to skip one or two coming up, but that remains to be seen. No news is good news on that front, because if I don't do another update on there, that means we're good to go and we're gonna keep doing the news videos. But all of that out of the way, let's jump into the news. And first things first, as per usual, we have music. And actually, today's music section is mostly touring information. So if you are interested in some heavy music, there's some heavy tours coming to your neighborhood. First and foremost, we have the Deftones, which normally I wouldn't really take note of the Deftones going on tour. It has been a few years since they've done that, but this one is slightly more notable because it's the Deftones and Gojira? That seems a little strange to me, but it's happening. Deftones, Gojira, and Poppy, band that I think I've only ever heard one song from and was not impressed. So why Gojira would sully their good name with this tour is beyond me. Again, I'm just kidding, but it's very strange lineup. The pre-sales for the tickets go on sale February 11th. General ticket sales go on sale February 14th, and the tour itself starts in July 27th, and runs until September 5th. And it's a very strange, if you look at the tour dates, like they start in California and then kind of sort of go through the north, go all the way to the East Coast, and then come back through the south and end in Denver, when it's like they kind of just went over. Whatever. So the next tour that we are going to be talking about is Rage Against the Machine. What was once just a handful of random festival dates is now a proper 7-month trek across the entire world. The tour is going to start March 26th in Texas, and then it ends September 12th in Austria, which is and there's like sections where they have 3 weeks off for reasons unknown. I think they even take the entire month of July off. It's just a very strange June, maybe? I don't remember. So, yeah, if your town is not, if there's not a date on that list of tour dates that's near you, then fret not, they might be adding more. It's not uncommon for large tours like this to add dates as they're going, because whatever reason they need to get contracts signed, or the people are just holding out and trying to get more money from them. Whatever it is, sometimes they do add tour dates. I'm hoping they add something a little closer to me, because right now, not there, but who knows? The tour is actually really interesting because, again, it is Rage Against the Machine. They're touring with Run the Jewels, which is not a bad hip-hop group. Just unexpected, I guess. Zach De La Rocha, I can see him doing like a solo project that goes on tour with Run the Jewels, but Rage tour? I don't know, man. Maybe it's going to be a great show. I have no idea. I've never seen Run the Jewels live. I've only listened to their music, and it's pretty good. So it'll be an interesting occasion if you make it out to that show. But our next tour that we're talking about, and this is the last tour, but we still have a couple of news things to talk about. Next up, is Lamb of God and Megadeth are going on tour together, and it is not the Megadeth, the Mayhem Fest, or whatever the heck they call their big Megadeth tour that they do every year. They couldn't really find a reason why they chose to not do that branding for this tour, because this is the time of year that they normally do that tour. Maybe it's the Dave Mustaine cancer stuff. I don't know. But this bill is actually pretty awesome. You've got Lamb of God, like I said in the intro to this section. Lamb of God, Megadeth, Trivium, and In Flames. So, a pretty awesome lineup, if you ask me. The tour starts June 12th and then ends November 13th. They do take a period off in the middle there because they're breaking up into two legs. So, the first leg is focusing in one area of the country. The second leg is focusing in the other area of the country. And basically, the month of October, they're not doing anything. Or no, not October, September? Something. One of those months in the middle of that, they're not doing anything because they're recuperating from the first leg of the tour because, again, Mustaine is old and cancer and things. So that is touring information. Oh, pre-sales for this, before we move on. Pre-sale tickets for this go on sale February 13th. General sale tickets go on sale the following day. So the only way to get pre-sales for this are through blabbermouth.net, so go check that out if you're interested. Very likely going to sell out instantly. So there's that. Also, just posted a reaction to the new Lamb of God single. I just click the thing in the screen and you tell me what you think. Anyway, next we are talking about something not quite so heavy. Former Flyleaf lead vocalist Lacey Sturm, which is her married name, is working on more solo material, which is really cool because honestly, since she's left Flyleaf, I really have lost interest in that band. Their new vocalist, the vocalist that replaced her was not very interesting, and then the vocalist that replaced her was even less so. So, yeah, definitely Flyleaf has fallen off my radar, but not so much Lacey Sturm. She was on the Breaking Benjamin record that just came out. She's done, for this record specifically, she's collaborating with the bass player, vocalist guy from Skillet, which is interesting. Those, quasi-Christian bands intermingling like that could create some pretty decent music. So not hating on that at all. And then our final piece of news comes from Atreyu. We just got a little bit of a studio update from Alex Varkatzas. I can never pronounce his last name right, and I freaking love Atreyu. Let's see if the paper helps as I read it. Alex Varkatzas. Yeah, that's the way I've always said it. Maybe that's right. I don't know. I've never heard it pronounced. Anyway, so Atreyu is kind of in the studio recording the follow-up to In Our Wake. They do it very interesting. They don't do a lot of pre-production work when they're writing music, meaning they don't write the music and work out a lot of the kinks before they bring it to the studio. They just walk into the studio and do most of the writing. Like, they'll come with ideas, but the lion's share of the writing happens in studio. And then they record it as they're writing it and mix it and do all of the things and do all the arrangements and all that jazz. So, very interesting process, and they're doing it in two stretches. They just got done with the first stretch, which, according to Alex, ended up with about 18 or 19 tracks that they have written. That will obviously be narrowed down to just a handful. And then they're going back into the studio in a few weeks to do another I think it was 3-week stretch that they did previously. This one's also going to be 3 weeks. And they're going to write, presumably, another batch of approximately 20 songs. So they'll have 40 songs that need to be whittled down to a proper record. That seems like such a waste of production money. Like, you could do all of this before you go to the studio, guys. Like, either way, super excited because the In Our Wake was actually not a bad record, but the record before it, So Others May Live, Long Live, that's what it was. the record before it, Long Live, is one of my, like, top 2 Atreyu records. It was so good. So these guys, their little revival that they're in right now, totally all about it, love it, can't wait for them to go on tour to support this so I can try and score an interview with them, because I've been talking to their PR every time they've been through my neck of the woods, and their PR is like, maybe, day of the show, sorry man, we don't got time for you. It is what it is, but that's what we got for music. Now, let's talk TV streaming. And honestly, like I said, this is going to be a quick episode because TV streaming, I've got 2 pieces. Movies, I've got 2 pieces. And rumor mill, I've got 2 pieces. Though the rumor mill is a little bit bigger because one of those pieces is actually like 6 pieces in one. So we'll get there. Right now, TV streaming, first and foremost, the Oscars happened on Sunday and nobody really cares anymore because it was just 2.5 hours of la la blah blah blah. So, noteworthy things that happened. There was some interesting performances, so you can check those out on YouTube. Janelle Monáe, Eminem, Billie Eilish, all of these things happened. As far as winners go, Parasite won Best Picture, Joker won Best Original Score and Best Leading Actor, and then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, rather. I always want to say Mexico. That's a completely different movie. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's Brad Pitt won his first acting Oscar, which I actually thought was really interesting that he hasn't won an Oscar before this. Like, come on, man, it's Brad freaking Pitt. Acceptance speeches being the reason I don't watch these shows anymore. This was not an exception to that rule for me, so you can watch those if you want, but I just saved you 2.5 hours of mind-numbing boringness. So that's what we've got there, and then we're going to jump over to, and there's like really no announcements. We have some things coming back that are getting announced for, coming back for Season 4 and Season 5 and new seasons and stuff like that, but really nothing big and noteworthy just yet. We are in that time of year where we've slumped. It is what it is. It's just the way the news cycle goes. That's why we rely on the rumor mill at this time of year, and even the rumor mill today might be a little lacking. Anyway, rambling like I do. So the last piece is Locke and Key. Locke and Key has launched over on Netflix, and to some mixed reviews. As far as, like, yeah, the reviewers, the people who get the aggregate on the one side of Rotten Tomatoes that, you know, you're a professional reviewer, yay, congratulations, they seem to be liking it-ish. But the fans are definitely split because this is very, 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 very different from the comic books. They find the keys in different orders. Again, I'm definitely not the foremost source for all that is Locke and Key, though I am dating somebody who's a pretty good source for all that is Locke and Key. And it's not a bad series. It's just strange that they've changed it in some of the ways that they have. Some of which Joe Hill has himself taken ownership for. Hey, this was my idea to change it. Most notably, the name of the town is no longer Lovecraft, because you can Google that one as to why that is. We're not going to get into it. But that's what we've got for TV streaming. Now we got to move over to movies, and movies is a little bit thicker, but again, there's only 2 pieces. First piece is Birds of Prey. Just launched this weekend. The Generally Nerdy review is up on the YouTube, so you can go check that out. But it's kind of not been the best launch for DC Warner Brothers. It was originally slated at approximately $100 I think it was like 160, if I remember correctly, was what they were hoping the opening weekend would come out to, and then they dropped that down to about 60, and then they dropped that down to about 40, and then they dropped it down to 35, and then the final numbers came in and it was $33 million opening weekend. With international opening weekend, that brings it to about 78 million. So even international couldn't bump it up over $100 million opening weekend. And so there's a little bit of damage control. It sounds like Warner Brothers is trying to not even do a spin control, but really like rebrand the movie. So they have officially changed the way that the movie is being presented. They are changing the title. Obviously, they're not changing the title card in the movie because that's ridiculous. It's a little too late to change the whole title card, but they are changing the way it is being billed at theaters. It is no longer Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. It is now being branded as Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, or Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, depending on where you are. It seems like they're trying to two different tactics to maybe fix the bad press a little bit, because one of the big things was the crazy long title that people just didn't care about. And the title implies that it's a Birds of Prey movie, and if you've seen the movie, it is obviously a Harley Quinn movie. She's not a part of the Birds of Prey in the comic books. She's not even a part of the Birds of Prey in the movie, so that it's kind of interesting that they're taking it in that direction. That's all we have there, though. Our second and final piece for movies is that Venom 2 has wrapped production in London. Not completely. They still have some filming left to do in San Francisco, it sounds like, but the largest chunk of their filming production is done. They have a little bit of follow-ups and some more coverage to get, I'm sure, and then we're into post. We're into the biggest bear of modern comic book movies is the post, because you have to do all of those special effects shots, and you have to do, in Venom, you have to, every friggin' scene with the symbiote, you have to make it crazy, right? So, still, one step closer to seeing Venom 2. That's pretty awesome. Now let's talk gaming. Gaming is also two pieces. In gaming, we have a new game that just got announced and is coming out in just 2 weeks. Do you like Samurai Jack? If you do, and you've always wanted to play him in a very violent and gory, bloody video game, well, you're still not going to be able to do that, but you will be able to play a game called Blood Roots that is inspired by Samurai Jack. So the main character is similar to Samurai Jack, but not so much in the way he looks, more apparently in the way he is presented, and the artwork is very, very much like that Samurai Jack series, which is kind of freaking awesome. The game launches in the end of this month, February 28th. It'll be a Switch, PlayStation 4, and PC only game. Why nothing comes out on the Xbox, I don't know, but that is the way of things. And we're moving on to an update on BioShock 4. Take-Two did their investors phone call where they do, like we've talked about in previous episodes, big companies to have a conference call with all their investors and say, hey, these are the things we're working on, and this is what's coming up, and blah, 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 so let's get hype, and you can give us more money. The Take-Two, who is the parent company of 2K Games, who is making the newest BioShock game with a new development team, said that it will be, quote-unquote, a few years before we see the newest entry into the BioShock franchise. What a few years means was not expressly laid out. So that could be 2 years, and we could see it at the very, very end of the life cycle for the current generation, though that doesn't seem super likely, unless you believe the rumor that we talked about like a month ago, saying that it's going to be at the beginning of next year, and this might just be hype. I don't think I buy that rumor, hearing the official announcement from parent company Take-Two. It sounds like we're going to see BioShock 4 be probably a launch title or something very close to launch for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Project X. So, yeah, that's what we got for gaming. And then comic books, I've only got one thing to talk about in comic books. There's things going on. It seems that over in the Marvel side of things, the mutants on Krakoa maybe haven't mastered mutant death yet because Kate Pride, that's a whole thing. But we do have a new book coming out on the DC side of things. There's no official title for it yet. We do know it is going to be Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo following up on Dark Knight's Metal. There have been a couple of character art teases that have been released. Wonder Woman with a chainsaw, because crazy awesome. A couple of Superman, or a Superman image rather, not a couple. And the most recent one is a Batman image of a picture of a version of Batman. We're not going to assume that it is the DC Prime Batman, because he's riding in a motorcycle we've never seen before that's made out of bones of some crazy creature, and he's carrying a scythe. So, Batman of Death, maybe? I don't know, but I can't wait for it to happen. Snyder and Capullo really kind of hit it out of the park with Metal and created a brand new killer villain for Batman. That is, I mean, if you play Mortal Kombat, you can play as the Batman Who Laughs, because it's awesome. But yeah, so that's what we've got for comic books. Now, let's get into the rumor mill, because I know that's why about half of you are watching this anyway. So, rumor mill for this episode. First rumor for the episode, set of rumors, I guess, revolves around Doctor Strange 2. Both of our rumors are movie rumors, and they are both MCU Disney Plus related. So, if you don't care about those things, then thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. But we're continuing on. Doctor Strange 2, we have another rumor about Ghost Rider probably being in this movie, though this time it's kind of against the last rumor we got. Alejandra Jones is, according to this rumor, not going to be the Ghost Rider we get. Not because the last rumor was false necessarily, but because Feige has run into issues and scheduling things and so on and so forth. I don't know if it has anything to do with the actress he wanted to play Alejandra, which was Bella Thorne, but that seems to not be the direction they're going anymore. Now they're going to do the 90s version of the Ghost Rider character, who will rumors say will be played by Brett Dalton, who you will recognize from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He played Agent Grant Ward. And he will be Danny Ketch, again, the 90s version of Ghost Rider. Also, it seems that this is likely the source of those Shuri as Black Panther rumors, because, again, Multiverse of Madness, we're going to be seeing alternate versions of characters we know. This makes more sense than if we got a whole new movie with Shuri as Black Panther, though it could be them doing the testing grounds, quote unquote, to see if Shuri as Black Panther will do well, and then maybe even further down the line they'll make that transition from Chadwick Boseman to Letitia Wright. That it's a rumor, so we don't know. So we're moving on. Next set of rumors, I guess, revolve around Captain Marvel 2, because this is the biggest one that everybody wants to talk about, because, yeah, I really don't know. So first we have rumors saying that Disney is looking to cast a young male version of Nova. So maybe we won't be seeing female Nova. Maybe that version of Nova won't be romantically involved with Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. Maybe. It sounds like this rumor, if this rumor is to be believed, this version will be the actual Richard Rider Nova, and he will be approximately the same age as Spider-Man, and those two are going to hit it off. Not in a romantic way, but in a kind of bromance kind of way, which, honestly, if we've learned anything from the last year and a half of woke movie making, that might be a better direction to go in. But I don't know, Feige doesn't really have a whole lot of missteps under his belt, so I'm honestly just going to let him steer the ship and not make too many speculations or judgments before things actually happen. So then, following that, there are even more rumors about this movie revolving around Rogue and Moonshine potentially being in this movie. Some of the rumors have the Rogue and or Moonshine appearance happening in Captain Marvel 3, which I feel like we're way far out to be speculating on that movie because 2 isn't even into production yet. So that is potentially happening, though some of my other sources have put the kibosh on Rogue being in Captain Marvel 2. There's too much that has to happen before that comes out, though still other rumors, and these are the ones that say Rogue and or Moonshine will be in Captain Marvel 3, say that we will see Rogue as a villain in Captain Marvel 3. She will be part of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants when we first get introduced to her, which is interesting thing to happen. I believe that actually happened in the comic books in the 90s. My brain is not picking that one up very clearly, but I'm fairly certain that happened. I know for a moment in the animated series that happened. So yeah. And then still more rumors, and this is more specifically about Moonstone, say that Moonstone is going to be introduced in the MCU relatively soon, but not in Captain Marvel 2. She will become a staple character, perhaps, in the Thunderbolts Disney Plus series. But all of this is just rumor, and we don't know yet. But that's the end of the rumors section. So what did I miss for the episode, guys? What should we talk about in the next one? Let me know in the comments down below. If, though, you want to go deeper into the conversation, then there is a website that you can go check out, generallynerdy.net. There is also a Patreon if you want more content and to help support the channel more directly. Patreon.com/generallynerdy. Go check those both out. All of the social medias and everything is linked from the website, so if you remember just one thing, should be generallynerdy.net. Don't forget to like the video if you like what I'm trying to do here. Subscribe so you get your nerd news and rumors updates as soon as they are posted. And before we go, guys, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.